No-fault divorce is basically a way of saying, we are no longer trying to put any pressure on you to stay together. You don't even have to give a justification for splitting up. It's a lot easier to get out of a marriage contract than it is to get out of any other contract. That's really bad because of all the things that we were trying to avoid by regulating marriage in the first place. Right. This isn't a point that's callous to the difficulties of marriage, by the way. There are lots of studies that suggest that couples who have serious difficulties but decide to stay together 5 years later, right, in the majority of cases, are very happy. Right. So it could be even for the couple's own good. In fact, when I invite people to my wedding, part of what I'm doing is inviting them to put pressure on me to stay together. The idea is the community has an interest in this, it's invested in this, and we, as well as the community, have an interest in the community encouraging us to stay together. We do that partly through culture and partly through law, and no-fault divorce is a direct repudiation of that.
In today's world, unfortunately, many women reject single men for their lack of pretty boy looks, lack of status for their career, and for being too kind and nice. Things will not improve for either or men until we start to realize how much we need each. But as men, we want to be treated with decency and no use of caustic commentary or put-downs. Please, all great ladies out there, look into your mirror and see what you can do to make yourself more marriageable, just as we have to do the same. I recently read something that said something like this, and it couldn't be more true. Marriage used to be like airborne parachutes that safely landed each member of the family on land. Now, and from the moment that no-fault divorce came to hunt the family unit, it became a parachute with a 50% chance of not opening, and probably with an aggravation of being torn and sabotaged from its beginning. Would you, as a reasonable man, use this device and even consider boarding such a flight just for the thrills and the promise of failed institutions to safeguard a future generation going forward to the dumpster fire?
What is gained by no-fault divorce? What's the good of that?
Oh, there's a bunch of good when it comes to no-fault divorce. Previously, when we had fault divorce, people would literally have to lie or commit vices in order to be able to get divorced. So whether it was
why don't they just not get divorced though if there's no fault?
The problem is if they decide to not get divorced, usually that leads to higher rates of unhappiness. It leads to people having more tension within their marriage. There is tension.
Does it? I don't know. I'm not convinced of that.
Well, we can look at people who reportedly stay in marriages where they're unhappy and the long-term effects of that, even psychologically, health-wise. We can look at abusive relationships, situationships where the woman feels like she can't leave even in an era of no-fault divorce.
The sad part of today's relationships is that most women lose attraction to and respect for men who commit to them, especially in today's American culture. My best relationships with women have been casual ones. No expectations, but anything is on the table. In this zone, they give you respect, admiration, and of course, other things. They play the dating and relationship game with all the other schmucks, but always come back to you. Most men have just decided to stop accepting women's double standards. You all decided you don't need us, so we have decided to leave you to your own devices and be as independent and strong as you choose to be, and take care of everything on your own. Maybe someday, when you all wake up from your delusion and make a real heartfelt apology for taking us for granted, we'll come back and accept you back into the fold. Until then, good luck, ladies, and don't forget to feed your cats. What man in his right mind would pick up the old trash that was used up by other men and toss it on the side of the street? That's what a recycle bin is for. Men should get their passports and find a traditional, feminine, fit, supportive, appreciative woman who values their men and family. The truth is that there's no shortage of men at all, just a shortage of men interested in dating women with these attitudes. I want, I want, I want, but what will you give in return? Too late in some cases for a family. What is the value proposition for a man? Do all these jobs around the home and support these women so they can now have an easy life. 1 + 1 can be more than 2 if you find the right partner who will work with you to build a life and family. I'm so glad I did, and am not in the dating scene these days. I think the idea that women should marry young because of beauty, fertility, etc. isn't the entire truth. I think they should also marry young because men are most easily distracted and manipulated by intimacy when they are young. A man will ignore some of the failings of a woman if she keeps him intimately satisfied during his horny years. Give him kids, feed him, provide a calm place for him, and, in most cases, you'll have his loyalty for life. Women now seem to think they can go shopping for their ideal man at 35, 55 with the same results. Once men lose that physical intimacy is everything drive, we don't want and won't tolerate a crappy attitude, a loud-mouthy, disrespectful, money-obsessed, ran-through women with delusional expectations. I'd say that reduction in the urge for intimacy for most men starts at around 30, younger if they've never been intimate or never had regular physical relations. Don't get me wrong, men will still take being intimate whenever it's available, but we're less easily manipulated into doing things we don't want to do in exchange for intimacy. I don't know why women don't understand that. The reality is that these women aren't looking for a husband or boyfriend. They are looking for someone that they can use and manipulate without giving them any benefits. They are looking for servants, not a partner. Plus, we are leaving because 1. You women said for us to leave you all alone. 2. You women said you don't need a man. 3. You women said you all are independent. With all of that being said, y'all women will be just fine without us. We men would rather just have peace and not be anyone's little yes man. In today's world, women mainly bring turmoil, anxiety, drama, anger, resentment, problems, dependency, emotional baggage, demands, etc., etc., into a man's life. Those few moments of bedroom fun and odd moments of companionship are just not worth it for men when they sit back and analyze why they are with a woman. Many older married men don't even get a hint of any of that bedroom fun or companionship. Their marriage is literally all negative. As young boys, we are told to man up by male role models such as our fathers, older brothers, sports coaches, and even our friends. However, young boys, and men, are also told the opposite by female figures and bombarded with it by various sources such as Hollywood, social media, etc. These women push the message that boys and men should be emotional, share their feelings, be vulnerable, it's okay to cry, and other similar messages. Because men want to meet women and get into relationships, we believe what they tell us and share our feelings, open up emotionally, etc. Many of us find out too late that this was horrible advice, and women don't want men to be like that all. The juice is just not worth the squeeze, and it hasn't been for some time. I can tell you that when I look at men my age, and even when I look in the mirror myself, I see a shell of why used to be. Men dragged through the family court system will never be the same again. Younger men who are deciding about relationships and marriage should pay attention to what happened to those who came before them and the lessons they were forced to learn. The only way to play a game that is rigged is to not play. It is also important to mention how no-fault divorce laws encourage divorce. Women initiate 80% of divorces, pay Title IV-D child support, pay alimony, men lose their house, men lose part of their 401k, and men give all or part of the ex-wife's debt through court order. All of these things are very likely. Men are wise to walk away from situations and contracts that make these possible outcomes happen to them. Many men settle down in an attempt to achieve peace and tranquility. Many women do not bring the qualities to meet this objective. This is one reason why you hear many men and women call women drama queens. Drama is the opposite of peace and tranquility. Another common problem making it difficult for women is the belief that settling and compromising is equivalent to losing. Impossible to have a functional relationship without compromise. Current politics is a great example of chaos in the refusal to compromise. Another issue is that many women would rather criticize men instead of being introspective. And of course, criticizing someone is the antithesis of peace and tranquility. No one is perfect, neither men nor women. There is no Prince Charming or Princess Charming, if you will. We men know there is no Princess Charming. But because of popular media and culture and Disney movies, many women foolishly believe Prince Charming exists. His name is Chad or Tyrone. But women, smart as they can be sometimes, are also quite dumb when it comes to selecting the right men for themselves. Men should avoid women in general. Men will consider a lady, but the 304S are the ones who put a price on themselves. You see a high-maintenance woman, that's a red banner that she's simply a rental with a high price tag. If it's a social media date, it's nothing more than a hookup disguised as dating. The ones using their social media as their therapy and validation, rentals. The biggest threat remains the archaic legal system that still sees women as is, they were still back in the 18th century. He's most likely going to lose at least half when she gets bored and replaces him. Family courts see nothing but their profit margin, getting a percentage of any support payments. So the real question should be, why shouldn't men avoid relationships? Thanks for watching Man Reacts. Show us your love and support by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. Support us and help us spread support for men around the world. Do comment and share your thoughts. We're always up for a healthy debate and discussion.